Good morning. Good morning to innerGPS TV. And this morning we have Lucy McCormack. Good morning, Lucy. You're very welcome this morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to just give you background as to how I know Lucy. I met Lucy 10 years ago. And then we bumped into each other quite recently when I was launching my book. And in my book, I mentioned parachutes. And when I bumped into Lucy, she was doing some amazing work. And she was a parachute. Parachute is somebody who lifts you up and supports you. She's an amazing coach and energist. And she provides much needed lift and support and encouragement to her clients by using modern energy tapping and other heart-based stress relief techniques. So I'm going to pass you over to Lucy and let her explain to you why she entered this type of work in helping people. Over to you, Lucy.
Thank you very much, Karen. That was a lovely introduction. So I had actually got a really happy childhood that I really suffered through. And I have come to realize in recent years with all the work that I've done and all the learning that I've done, that it was my thinking that was my problem. I was looking at it, everything from a negative perspective and really just making myself miserable. I got to a stage when I was a teenager where I was really seriously depressed, but as far as I can tell, nobody noticed and nobody wanted to thought about doing anything about it, or it was just, you know, the way I was. I was very shy. I had really, really low self-esteem, but I think I covered it very well with a kind of veneer of confidence that seemed to be the only thing that people saw. So from that, I managed to meet my most wonderful husband, get married, have my absolutely brilliantly fantastic son. And really, you know, on the outside life was pretty fabulous. But on the inside, I was really, really, really depressed. I went through a stage of being on antidepressants, which helped and got me out of it. And then as I was finishing up with those, I was given some of Tony Robbins's coaching courses. And I worked my way through those, and they really started me on my journey. I learned that I could change the way I think, and look at my life differently and choose what I wanted to do rather than just doing what I was told to do. So that really helped, and I carried on from there. I got into I was always fascinated by energy and how people thought and who people are, you know, and what they're doing. I'd love to sit in the window of a coffee shop and look out and wonder who the people are, what they're doing. And I still find myself doing that. I see, you know, a couple sitting down beside each other and I'm wondering, gosh, what's their relationship like? Or, you know, that kind of thing. Because people really fascinate me. I did actually ultimately find that in some of the other work that I do, that I'm part of a soul group who's relatively new to life on Earth and don't actually understand what's going on. And that really resonated with me, because I was going, that's why. Because I think I also spent a lot of my childhood wondering why, you know, the things my parents were making me do, why, what is the point? You know, it all really didn't make any sense to me. So yeah, as I said, I got into energy. I started learning Qigong, feng shui. I followed all sorts of people, Jack Canfield, as I said, Tony Robbins. Who else have I got? Oh, all sorts of people. And ultimately got myself to a point where, having read all the books and done all the courses, I was in my kitchen, of all things. And my actual life change came with a glass of water, believe it or not. So I was in my kitchen, great stuff. I was in my kitchen and my son had asked me for a glass of water. He was upstairs studying at his desk, and I was grumbling away to myself. Oh God, can he not get himself? This is ridiculous. Why? I had a big thing going on in my head that I was the house slave. I didn't have a life of my own. I was only doing things for other people. And suddenly it occurred to me, that was what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be the support for the other people. That was, you know, it was my whole life purpose. I'd spent years and years digging through books and courses, wondering what my life purpose could be. And literally standing in my kitchen, pouring a glass of water, it dawned on me, this is my life purpose. It's to be me. It is actually that simple.
And it's amazing what the difference could have been if you didn't get that insight, how you could have been grumpy bringing the glass up to Matthew.
Absolutely. And I think that was the big change. I brought the glass up and I went, you know, here you are, how's your studying? Can I help? And he went, no, I'm fine. And he told me he loved me. And he said, thank you. And that used to be, it's such a shame he grew up, because it used to be my big claim to fame. I had a teenager that loved me. But I'm not a teenager anymore. It's just such a, I have a 21-year-old that loves me, doesn't have the same ring. So
Our
yeah,
perception is everything, isn't it?
Perception. I changed, as Wayne Dyer said, I changed my thoughts and I changed my life.
Absolutely.
So at that stage, I moved forward and I decided that I really could actually, I could actually help people with this. And then I saw Matthew suffering from some of the same things that I did, and I was able to help him. And I used the techniques that I was learning at the time, and that, you know, the rest is history. We're all happy. Not all the time, I have to say. I do still get to a point where I'm so miserable I can't help myself. But I'm getting there.
I suppose to enjoy the rainbow, you have to get some rain. You know, you have to have some rain.
Yeah,
and that's all
I
part
love
of it.
rainbows.
Good. And we're all here to experience emotion. And that comes with the positive and the negative, but it's learning to spend less time in the negative and have techniques to get back up to the positive, which is great. What is your favorite? You've mentioned Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer. I quite like Wayne Dyer too. What is your favorite book that you go back to?
My favorite book is I have loads of them, but I think my top favorite is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
Okay, I don't know that one.
He talks about, he has a couple of things. One is when you're living in your zone of genius, then your life is so much better. And most of us don't live in our zones of genius. Or we don't even know what our zone of genius is, which is a big thing. And then the other thing he talks about in the book is your upper limit. So everybody has a kind of amount of happiness they feel they deserve. That's obviously, it's not a conscious thing, but that there is an element of, you know, you get to the amount of happiness you deserve, and you do something to knock yourself back down again so that you're back on your even keel. So he talks about using, and that's what I try to do, is use all the techniques that I've learned with clients to help them raise that level so that their upper limit is higher, because getting past that upper limit is very, very difficult.
That was going to be my question, Lucy. You mentioned about a zone of genius, and you're right, some people don't know what their purpose is. So what tips would you give them, or what would the steps you'd use for them to access their zone of genius?
I think the first thing people need to do is to realize that they are perfect on the inside, just the way they are. I know I posted this on Facebook, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and I got a comment back of, don't be silly, we're not all perfect. Okay, yeah, bye-bye. But it is, I think it's really important that people know that they're okay on the inside. You know, their soul is perfect, their soul was made, and it is perfect just the way it is. It's just that we have all this stuff that, you know, karma or thoughts or all the things we've made up in our lives and our thinking that stop us from feeling that way and stop us from behaving that way. So once they know that, and that takes a huge amount of work to know that you're okay the way you are, and that you're always going to be okay the way you are.
And it's a challenge because, you know, what you hear out there in the big bad world is that you're not, that you need to be more, you need to gain more, you need to do something. There's always that expectation that you'll never reach your best, that you should always be trying. And that is one of the challenges, isn't it? Trying to work against that and to be accepting of yourself more, less of a judgment.
The one of the big things that I've learned in modern energy tapping that I do, the big thing with that, it's like EFT, but just really just focused on the positive. But the big thing that we talk about with that is raising your energy level. And if you look at a chart that goes from -10 to +10 and you see where you are on that chart, you know, how do I feel in this moment? If you feel a +2 or a +3, life is more difficult. If you feel -4, -5, -6, life is extremely difficult. And doing things like modern energy tapping to raise your energy actually makes the acceptance of that I am perfect. And if you can get to a +10, just completely different. Yeah.
Bottle it.
You're absolutely your whole life is different because you see things so much more positively.
Fantastic.
And that really helps. The other thing then that I do is Akashic record readings with soul realignment. So I have studied that extensively. So the Akashic records are the records of your soul, everything you have said and done and thought since the first time you incarnated, since you were created. So I'm telling people who they are on a soul level. People don't necessarily resonate with that when I tell them. They usually have a little inkling of it. But then we go through the kind of the different blocks that they've brought through, maybe from past lives, to show them why it is, you know, what it is in their energy field that's stopping them from feeling like who they really are. And that completely changed my life. I got a reading myself a few years ago, and I really resonated with one of the things I was told was that I had unjustified karma in my energy field. And everybody knows about karma, which is, you know, you do something, it comes back to you, good or bad. Unjustified karma was where I was still running. I had done something, thing had happened, but I was still running that. I was still feeling guilty for it. And when I saw that, I went, oh my God, that is why I have been doing all these things all my life. And that's what I love. I love to show people, to make them feel okay. The way they're behaving is fine. It's your energy.
And you're so right, because sometimes our current life may not give us the answers as to why we feel the way we do. And when I do the Go Deep sessions with people, sometimes you need to go back. You need to go back further to realize, actually, this is energy you've carried in.
Yes.
It makes absolutely no sense why you're working the way you are now. But when you see that, it makes every sense. And it's easier to clear it out. So it's great that you're doing this work as well, Lucy, because people can, you know, oh, that's why I'm doing it. It's not me.
Yes. Yeah. And to understand why you're behaving the way you're behaving just makes, because behavior is a choice. You know, we can all resonate, or we can all take something on and react. You know, somebody pulls across in front of you in traffic. As I said, it depends how you react, depends on your energy level. If you're down at that -4 or -5, you're cursing and swearing at them and trying to pull around them and, you know, giving them the finger as you pull around them. Whereas if you're up at the +10, or even +5 or 6, you have a tendency to go, gosh, they must be in a hurry.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And perception is everything.
my other thought at that point is always, I hope they live to get to their destination, given the way they're driving.
Absolutely. What helps people as well, what can help people is mantras or phrases that you can lean on, or bring you out maybe a bit of a negative slump, or help the situation. Do you have any particular phrases you like to use, Lucy?
I just do when I'm really, I have a few things. The first thing that I do is breathe. If you can do heart-centered breathing, I've studied quite a lot of the stuff from the Heart Math Institute, which is really interesting, and they've done a lot of scientific research about connecting back to your heart. And if your energy is in your heart rather than up in your head where you're full of all the crazy thoughts, back to your heart. So breathing, feeling that breath in and out of your heart is the first thing that I always start with. Again, my modern energy tapping, learning that is great, because that can flick the switch in a couple of minutes. As I said before, I do still have moments where I'm so depressed I don't even want to tap. I want to just wallow in it, which I think a lot of people do. So I have all the stuff that I do is set up so that people have the access to that in the moment that they feel, oh, I might do something about that.
Speaking of that, Lucy, you have some programs. You have a free mini program as well that you
I
offer.
do indeed. I have. It's called my Marvelous Mornings mini course.
Oh, you love the alliteration. I love the alliteration.
I do. That's why I'm Live Life Lightly. So yeah, it's great. It's free for the moment. I think I have to start charging for it sometime fairly soon. But it is a very short course. It's a video where I show you how to tap. You can, from the first moment you open it, you can tap along with me, and it does. I do almost guarantee that you'll feel better. It doesn't. You have to be open to it, at least to some degree. They are and there's a lot of research. They are pretty much the acupuncture pressure points that you're tapping on. So it is a physical thing as well. But some people, it's going to take longer to actually feel the benefit. But
it's great that it's a video, because you're not just reading and trying to find the points. You can see you doing it.
I also have a nice sheet with all the tapping points on it. I have an audio that you can listen to set up your day, and I have a set of journal questions that you can ask yourself so that you can pick how you want to feel today.
Yeah, whether you like to read or listen or see, you're covering everything there. That's fantastic, Lucy. So, as I said, Lucy is a parachute, and she does look after people really, really well as a coach.
Thank you.
So tell us, you do the Akashic Records and you do the tapping, and there's the coaching as well. So you have this mini course, people can get an idea of Lucy.
Yeah,
and
who
the
I
type
am,
of work she does.
What I'm like.
Yes, and also it's the thought and detail that goes into it that you provide on so many different levels.
Yes. And so I start after that. If people are interested in taking the next step, I have a 3-week tapping course. So you get the whole premise is 3 weeks, 3 sessions of tapping with me where we can work through. What I really like people to do is to be able to empower themselves, so they don't need me. That's what my aim. It's important that they are doing it for themselves. They have the techniques. So we work through, again, I have videos, I have journals, all in the course that you can do in between our sessions, so that you can actually do it yourself. And from that you can move on to my 12-week. I have studied with Tony Robbins and the strategic intervention coaching, so I have a whole heap of that, which I add tapping to, which makes it way more fun and way easier.
Great.
Because the tapping clears all the rubbishy mind chatter, so you actually get to the heart of what you think yourself, which is what I love about it.
And that's super, isn't it? Just getting rid of all that chatter, monkey chatter, so as you can really get to who you are.
Yeah.
Lucy, if people want to get in touch with you,
Lucy
how
McCormack,
would they do that?
www.lucymccormack.com, or I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Live Life Lightly, and all the links are in there. The links to my mini course and everything else are in both Facebook and
can you give people your email address in case they just want to contact you?
That's really easy too. It's lucy@lucymccormack.com.
Great. Lucy, it's been lovely having you on. Thank you so much. Really appreciate hooking up with you again. Lucy's also giving out talking on Wednesday in the We Can We Will event in the Spa Hotel. So we'll hear a bit more about Lucy from the stage. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
we'll be cheering you on.
A chapter in a book that's coming out at the beginning of December. So
you're writing a book?
Forward to that too. No, only a chapter.
Oh, not only a chapter, is it?
It's a chapter.
Oh, it's a chapter. Fantastic.
It's actually, I wrote it maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and then I didn't look at it again, and then it's going off to be published, and I had to reread it, and I thought, checkers, this is cool. I'm very pleased with it.
Oh, fantastic. So lots happening with Lucy McCormack. Tune into her, connect with her. She's a phenomenal coach. And
thank you very much.
Live life lightly with Lucy. Thank you so much. Okay.
Karen also really helped me when we met that 10 years ago. She was my coach, and she really got me through some tough times. She was absolutely spectacular. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I wouldn't have got half as far as I am now if it hadn't been for you.
Sure, we're all parachutes for each other, aren't we? We're all there, and we all need parachutes. It's not like we've arrived. We all need parachutes. So thank you so much for that, Lucy.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. See you all again next time.